And they're not human. They're 100% they're not human. Big eyes. They have big eyes.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Do you think there's sentient life other than our own somewhere out in the universe? Well, witnesses at these crash sites definitely claim to have seen some pretty otherworldly things. And we're starting off the list with what has to be my favorite UFO case. This is what is often referred to as the Travis Walton case. Now, it's easy to just brush this story off as something this guy made up, but there are some interesting details here that make this case harder to ignore than your typical alien abduction story. So, on November 5th of 1975, in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest in Arizona, Travis Walton and his crew, who were loggers, encountered something incredibly disturbing as they were driving back from work. They saw strange lights in the sky, and as they approached, they noticed a large glowing object hovering above the trees. Now, the rest of the guys were pretty unsettled by what they were seeing and wanted to just get the hell out of there. But Travis's curiosity got the better of him, and he got out of the truck and started actually approaching the craft. Everyone was like pleading with him, saying like, "What are you doing? Get back!" But then all of a sudden, Travis was hit by a beam of light before being lifted into the air. The loggers completely panicked and fled the scene, but as they made it to a safer distance away, they all kind of looked at each other and were like, "We can't just leave him back there." So they turned around and started driving back. But by the time they'd returned, Travis was gone. They reported the incident to authorities, which led to a 5-day search for Travis. They couldn't find him. They were convinced he'd be gone forever, and the loggers were now being pressed by authorities as, of course, the #1 suspects in his disappearance. But then, out of nowhere, Travis reappeared. He was unharmed, but deeply disturbed. He would go on to tell this insane story about having been abducted by and then experimented on by aliens. Now, what I love about this story is that we have multiple witnesses of the spacecraft here. All of Travis's fellow loggers confirmed witnessing the exact same craft and the beam of light that struck Travis. They even underwent lie detector tests, which indicated that they were telling the truth. Now, while polygraph tests aren't 100% foolproof, the fact that almost all of the loggers' tests came back positive, only one was inconclusive, that's pretty interesting. This case was also the inspiration for probably the creepiest alien abduction movie ever put to screen, Fire in the Sky. Next on the list we have the Rendlesham Forest incident. This one is very well documented. This took place in December of 1980 near the Rendlesham Forest in Suffolk, England. Late at night on December 26th of 1980, military personnel witnessed strange lights slowly descending into the forest. Now at first, they figured it was a downed aircraft, and what they found definitely seemed to be an aircraft, just not one they'd ever seen before. They came across what seemed to be a metallic object on the forest floor and would see strange lights in the sky. Some reported that the object they saw was triangular and emitted strange beams of light. One of the airmen even claimed to have touched the object. There are official documents that have been released about this story with full reports by the military personnel at the site, and what they described was pretty strange. Now, did they actually encounter alien spacecrafts? It's debatable. I wasn't there, I can't say for sure, but what is very clear is that they saw something out of the ordinary. This incident is often referred to as South Africa's Roswell, so that kind of tells you how significant this one was. So the story goes that this whole incident was covered up. Some of the details of this one are a bit vague, and some chalk this one up to just being a hoax, but there were supposed leaked documents describing the following events. So this was an unusual event that took place over the Indian Ocean on May 7th of 1989. According to reports, a fast-moving object believed to be a UFO was spotted by naval personnel. In response, fighter jets were sent to intercept and target it. The UFO was successfully hit, crashed in the Kalahari Desert. leaving a noticeable skid mark. Shortly after the crash, a U.S. recovery team was swiftly deployed to gather evidence from the site and transport it to Patterson Air Force Base. And not only were parts of the aircraft retrieved, but the bodies of 2 alien beings as well. Finally, though, we have one of the most mysterious and destructive crash landings of all time, the Tunguska event. On June 30th, 1908, a massive blast hit this remote area of Russia. The event is believed to have been caused by the airburst of a large object, most likely a comet or asteroid, entering Earth's atmosphere and exploding in mid-air. The explosion released an enormous amount of energy and flattened about 80 million trees in the area. Now, luckily this happened in a very remote area, so only trees were really affected, but that also means there were very few witnesses. But there were a handful of people that did report seeing bright bluish light in the sky, accompanied by a series of thunderous noises. And there's always been this question as to whether this was caused by a space rock or something else. Apparently there was also mutated plant life after this impact, and Joseph Stalin is rumored to have conducted secret experiments in the area after the crash.